Hey YouTube, today I'm going to make almond coconut fat bombs, which are kind of like Almond Joy candy bars. And you see I have the recipe printed out here. I'll include a link to this in the description as well as the end of the video. I start with my own chocolate, which I make with cocoa butter and cocoa powder. If you really want to simplify this even more, just use 90 or 85% chocolate bars. This is 9 servings, and each serving is about 3 net carbs. I have all the ingredients out here and we can get started. The first step is to melt the cocoa butter to make the chocolate. This recipe calls for 100 grams of cocoa butter, so I just reached that with 3 big chunks. And I get my cocoa butter and my cocoa powder on Amazon. I normally like to switch up the brands. I'll just get different kinds each time, as long as it's organic. And when I make chocolate, I normally do even parts, so I would do 100 grams cocoa butter, 100 grams of cocoa powder. But just to make these a little bit more fat and less carb, I decided to do 100 grams of cocoa butter, and to that I'll add 75 grams of cocoa powder once this is melted down. The best way to melt this is on a double boiler, which I just have this metal bowl sitting on top of a small pot, which has about maybe 6 to 8 ounces of water that's simmering. So I just put that on low heat, and this will continue to melt down, and once it's fully melted, then we'll add the cocoa powder. As the cocoa butter melts, I'm going to get this coconut ready. So this is about 50 grams, which is about a half of a cup of unsweetened shredded coconut. And I'm just going to toast this. There's nothing else in the pan. It's just the dry coconut. I'm going to toast this on medium heat until it gets golden brown. And when that happens, you want to start mixing it up. Otherwise, it may burn on the one side and be completely raw on the other. Alright, the coconut is just about done here, and the cocoa butter is also almost completely melted. I just got one more big chunk left. Alright, the cocoa powder is ready to go in, so I got 75 grams here in a bowl, and to that I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of Swerve Erythritol sweetener, and I'm also going to add a little bit of stevia powder, which I have on the side here once I cut this video. But the stevia that I have is super concentrated, so it's the serving size is 1/32 of a teaspoon. So I take an eighth of a teaspoon and just get like a dusting of it to put in here, and not even that much. But I got this on Amazon, and I mean, considering the strength, this will probably last me like 7 years. So let me get this in with the cocoa butter, and I'll mix that together. And I also put a little bit of salt in both the chocolate and the coconut. I got the chocolate completely melted here with the cocoa powder and sweetener. And so I'm just going to start filling up these muffin cups. And I have a tablespoon here, so I usually do about 1 tablespoon and let it spread around. And as long as it's covering the bottom, that's enough. If it's not covering the bottom or just barely covers, maybe just add a little bit more, drizzle a little more in there. And then I pop these into the freezer to let them harden as I prepare the filling. Let me do the first one here. And yeah, it looks like 1 tablespoon is just about enough. I may add just like another couple of drops here. Yeah, there we go. And this is a little bit tilted. This isn't completely flat. So once I spread it around, it'll cover evenly. So that's about a good amount for one of them. So I'll continue with the other 8 of these. Here's my bowl of coconut, and I have 50 grams of almond butter, which I added to that, which is about 3 to 4 tablespoons. And like I said, I also added a little bit of sweetener. Depending on the almond butter you have, I mean, this is Justin's, which this is pretty thick. The last almond butter that I had was Crazy Richard's, and that was really oily, so you may need to add more or less to get the right consistency, but I'm gonna mix this together and then end up forming little patties, which I'll put into the muffin cups and then cover that with chocolate and pop it back into the freezer again to finish them off. I want to mention that this is a little bit drier than last time, and I think it is because of the difference in almond butter. But I'm also gonna add some vanilla extract, which I'm just eyeballing here, and that's what I have in the spoon. And I'm gonna add almond extract, which that is pretty strong flavor, so I like to add 1 or 2 drops, mix it through, and then taste it, because I think if you do too much, then that would completely ruin it. Yeah, these definitely did not form patties the way I wanted to, but I just don't really care. It's still gonna taste great. I got a little bit more chocolate left, which I'll spoon over the rest of these, but we'll just call them rustic. So here's the final product, and it doesn't look as good as the last time I made it, but it's definitely gonna taste as good. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I'm gonna link to the recipe for this so you can grab a copy of that if you wanna try it. Let me know in the comments if you do give this a try, and if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great day.